you're being re-traumatized, and like you have complex PTSD. She started throwing out all of these things. And so it was just so much trying to figure that out. And I started writing. She had me writing. And I found a really good group that she hooked me up with, the Writer's Rock, on Amsterdam. If anybody wants to do any creative writing, they're amazing. And we had a really small group. John French, Twisted Sister, was one of, he just published his memoir.
Wow.
And John was in that group. And John actually was such a huge mentor and supporter. And it's funny because like a few months before, I guess I was like 4 months pregnant. No one knew. I didn't tell anyone until I was like 6 months pregnant, 7 months. And I was actually at a Twisted Sister concert. And going to that concert and being able to yell, and it's kind of like surfing, right? You're just free. I mean, we need sources of freedom and expression. And just to be yelling and singing and with people who are happy and, like a community, that was just so amazing. And so then when I go to the writers group that my therapist recommended, here's Twisted Sister sitting in the room.
Wow.
And I'm like, and as soon as I say, I saw you in South Carolina in 1985, and he's like, oh my God, that was this Carolina Coliseum. He just like, it was with, Iron Maiden, Quiet Riot. And,
wow.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it was meant to be. And so he was working on his memoir, which was actually really, really emotional. It's funny to think Twisted Sister, you just think cool and, but no, we all have our stories. Yeah. And he was working through his, and we worked together. It was just like so amazing. But I started writing my memoir and Falling Waters. And the idea was when I decided like I have to be near the ocean. I have to find some other outlet, some kind of healing. And so when we moved to Rockaway, I just stopped writing. Yeah. I wrote for like the first 6 months, and it's like, I can't.
Yeah.
And so I started, just like I said, first, photographing just traditional coastal things. And then Papi Del Tubo walks in and my life changes. And he's the sweetest person ever. We renewed our vows actually on one of the jetties, and Papi Del Tubo and a few other surfers were there. And so it just changed everything, being with the surfers, being out there, just trying to heal, and surf photography has done that for me.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I know it's very strong of you to be able to talk about that, and I appreciate it. And I know our listeners will definitely appreciate it. It adds also a whole nother dimension to your photography. It really does.
True. I never even thought of that. But
the story is like, oh my gosh, like there's this healing process going on. Almost like if you want to go back and look at your photography on your Instagram, which I did today, like looking at like kind of the evolution of it, you can kind of see that healing process almost in some ways.
I should do that.
Yeah.
Right? See if I can feel that. I'm sure that's there. Like, I feel like everything has changed. I feel stronger. How can you not live at the beach and not be spiritual? You just feel so connected. And the wildlife, nature, especially since COVID, has been incredible. To be out there and there's whales like inside the jetty.
Oh gosh, yeah,
like
huge,
right?
Whales, dolphins,
incredible.
And then you have like Jamaica Bay right there, the sanctuary too, which is also like kind of mind blowing.
It really is.
When you think about how close you are to the city.
Absolutely.
You have all of this healing nature there. And, not to get too philosophical or spiritual, but I always, I have family who've passed, and we've, always spread their ashes in the water. And so whenever there's, a whale or a dolphin, I'm always thinking, towards that,
Love that.
And I think like that's, those things are really wonderful, and they give us meaning and they give us purpose and give surfing meaning. It's not just this frivolous activity that we do to get adrenaline or dopamine hit. There's a lot more going on for many people who go and surf. And I think you documenting that and capturing that is really important. And like you said, like you have people DMing you, that was the first wave I saw of myself or whatever. Like those are really important moments in people's lives that you're helping to create or capture.
Yeah, and I think doing that sort of, I don't know if take the focus off of myself, but I guess in a way, like I'm concentrating so much on that. I think that's really helpful because, you can only like just wallow in this agony, for so long. You have to have breaks.
Well, presence. Your photography requires you to be present.
Yes.
And not thinking even, right? Like
Yes.
you're just you're there. You're in that moment, particularly with the surfer even. You're in that moment with them.
I always say because someone asked me recently, like, don't you want to get on a board and be out there? Like, how is that fun to just shoot them? And I said, I am on the board with them every single time I shoot. And then they were like, oh, dude, that's really, wow.
Oh,
obviously
that's
it was
deep.
a surfer, but you could tell they were just like,
let me get Spicoli on you
exactly
here.
right.
Oh.
But he was just like, oh, I never thought of it like that. I said, it's true though. I am, and once I shoot someone once or twice, like I can see you from a million. It blows them away,
style.
but I know their style, and I can be like, oh, there's Tara, and then Bill's like, how do you know that's Tara? Oh, because she always does this with her left foot, or, like Xavier always bites his tongue and sticks it out every single time. And like you have different people that you'll see them and I can see them from far away. And even something about that, there's this connection, this thread of community and, wonderment with the ocean and with nature. And I don't know, that common thread we all share, how it just kind of weaves in between all of us and connects us. That being focused on that too, I mean, it's just beyond special.
It's really intimate.
It's very intimate.
You're like you're just saying like someone's biting their tongue. They have a hand movement. There's really their personalities come through in their style, and that's like almost knowing someone's soul, I think,
Yeah, I guess it is.
Because the style is their expression, their personality, I think, it really, as a surfer develops over years, and, we are influenced by video and everything, but it's definitely like eventually your own style forms and your personality tends to shine through, I think, for a lot of people. It
totally does. And everyone, I've noticed an evolution in them, which helps me grow too, because, that's not even static. It's just like photography. The more you shoot, the better you're going to get. The more the surfers are out there, the better they're going to get. But they still have those little things that are just like, that's just us, right?
Little signifying marks,
Absolutely.
Their signature.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. I love that I can even be on my balcony and maybe it's like foggy or cloudy. And, and I'll just be like, oh, I can see Juan's out there. Like he's got this short board and he's like, how can you see? It's foggy. And I'm like, because he always does this swirl and I can see him swirl. And he's just like, wow, that's weird. I don't know how you see them. But I love that. I love having that connection with them. It's really special.
I think that's a great photographer. That's a mark of a great photographer, that they know their subjects so intimately like that. And I think that's really, really cool. And I think that's like why you have such a wonderful little following too, and everyone is really stoked on what you post.
I love my followers. They're just so cool. The things that they that they message me, or the comments on, I've been playing with the waves a lot, kind of doing all of Matt Clark, Jonathan Spector,
nice.
Salty Visions, Eric,
all
these people
stuff
that I love, and not trying to copy, because I don't want to, I have my own style and I want to stick with that, that's really important. But just watching what they do and admiring them, I've been playing with the waves and the water, and you think it's just a wave and it just forms and that's just it. And, it's so crazy when you shoot waves and really pay attention, the depth. And so I recently, maybe yesterday or a couple of days ago, I posted one of the waves that I had shot. And Todd, one of the surfers I've been shooting for years, he was just like, ooh, crispy. And I was like, yeah. And it's like even just little things like that. And I thought, crispy, yeah, that's a great, like even little comments.
Good little adjective to describe
it's
it,
a
right?
nice thing to see, like, yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. Like I like crispy. So, even little cute little things like that, they seem silly, but it still helps when I'm doing that kind of photography, like with the waves, which is something different, just to kind of get their feedback too. And then definitely will give feedback. And, trying to get in the water more has been, I did it for a little while and then COVID.
Yeah.
And then I stopped. And it's like I grew up swimming my whole life. And yet all of a sudden it's been kind of where I felt a little weird about it. I've been trying to work through like what's going on. And I just feel fearful sometimes. I make myself do it anyway, but I feel a little nervous. And, I told Bill, I remember one time, I try to remember this when I go out in the water and try to like do the waves, especially and the surfers, is when I was shooting Kook, Mike, during, I think it was Dorian, there was this insane wave. And like I get the whole sequence and Kook has his pink shortboard and he comes out and, he's totally like, oh my God, did you get that?
Did you get it? Did you
get
it?
Of course, first question ever, out of everyone's mouth, like, I got it. And he's like, oh my God. And then I'm like, God, I said, I wish I could be fearless like that. And Kook literally just stopped and he looked at me and he's like, you think I'm not fearless? He's like, I'm scared shitless. No, that was terrifying. Did you see that wave? You said you got it. And I was like, well, I did, but how do you, he's like, I don't know. You just do it anyway. I want to be in the water. I want to surf that wave. And he's like, yeah, I'm scared to death, but you just do it. And that was a big thing. And so I've been lately with trying to do more water photography and being nervous and fearful. I keep hearing Kook in the back of my mind, like, you just do it anyway. You're going to be afraid.
Yeah.
Right? And that's life.
Well, this big wave surfer, Shane Dorian, always said, like, the things that scare him, he wants to run towards, not away, because that is that's how you grow,
Absolutely,
and obviously, self-preservation is really important too, but I think it's doing the things that scare us are what make us feel most alive.
I love that. It's true.
It really reinforces like some primal feeling of like, holy crap, I'm not in a safe bubble. I am totally alive, and you're straddling that line, and I think that's a really important feeling for people to feel.
I agree.
It adds purpose to our lives, and not enough people I think do it.
I agree with that, and I want to be like that with my work too. So, I just keep thinking of. I mean, there's so many things that I know that I've done that people will be like, I could never handle that. Like I can't, emotional things, even take that. And, a grandma running up and down the beach shooting surf photography, not your norm. But it's like, people are like, wow, that's just like, you're fearless. And it's like, I'm not, but then maybe sometimes I am and I don't realize it. I think maybe we should be more aware when we're stepping outside, even if it's just one toe, right? Stepping into that little unknown, that's out of the comfort zone. It's important.
It's super important, and I think also we sometimes forget what becomes normal for us is someone else's fear also. True. And so what Mike's doing, he's been doing that his whole life almost. So yeah, he's scared, but he's also quite confident and comfortable
really
and comfortable in the water. So that so yeah, to you that's like fearless. To him, it's like, this is what I've worked up to. And I think you confronting a lot of emotional things is something that most people don't do, or putting your photos out there for people to see and judge
so scary.
Is terrifying. Coming onto this podcast with me.
Scary.
But I mean, that's like, that takes a lot to be able to do. And I think that's like awesome that you're doing that. you know, and God, like you went to college at 36. For some people, that's terrifying to do. You switch careers as an adult.